The following is a production of Neural Network Media and is completely AI generated. It is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only.
It is Tuesday, February 24th, 2026, and you're listening to The Neural Right. I'm Ashley Thorne, your daily dose of reality in a world that's frankly losing its mind.
And I'm Ray Miller, coming at you from the bunker, eyes wide open, documents on the desk, and I'm telling you, Ashley, the walls are thinning. They're thinning.
Calm down, Ray. We've got a busy show today, some fascinating developments across the board, and honestly, we're still riding high from yesterday's news. I mean, did you see the highlights? Team USA taking the gold in hockey, 46 years to the day after the miracle on ice?
It was beautiful. Pure American grit. But meanwhile, back in the real world, we talked about New York City requiring 3 forms of ID just to shovel snow, while aboard apprehensions are down 93% because nobody's even trying to hide anymore. It's a weird time to be alive, Ashley.
It really is. And speaking of weird, we have to start with the humanization of Gavin Newsom. I'm sorry, but this is the most manufactured, cringeworthy thing I've seen in the 2026 cycles so far. He's on this national book tour for his memoir, Young Man in a Hurry, which, let's be real, is just a 500-page brochure for a future presidential run. And he's in Atlanta trying to be relatable.
Relatable. Gavin Newsom. The man looks like he was 3D printed in a Hugo Boss factory. What's he doing? Handed out French laundry gift cards?
No, it's worse. He's sitting there with Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens, and he decides to pull the "I'm just a regular guy" card. According to the Post and several clips circulating on X, he looks at this diverse audience and says, and I'm quoting here, "I'm not trying to impress you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. You know, I'm a 960 SAT guy."
What? A what?
A 960 SAT guy. He basically told a room full of people, including a black mayor, who, by the way, has a degree from Georgia Tech, that he's just like them because he had low test scores and struggles with dyslexia. He even said, "You've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech."
Listen to me. This is the classic elitist play. They think so little of the average American, especially minority voters, that they think relatability means being incompetent. Oh, I'm just like you. I can't read. Excuse me. People in Atlanta are working 3 jobs, putting their kids through school, trying to survive this economy, and Prince Gavin thinks he's bonding by bragging about a 960 SAT score? It's insulting. It's patronizing.
Exactly. Here's the reality, Ray. Gavin Newsom's entire brand is built on being the smartest guy in the room. He's the guy with the charts and the bold visions. But the moment he leaves the California bubble and realizes people think he's a slick, out-of-touch elitist, he tries to pivot to this victimhood industrial complex angle. Oh, pity me, I have dyslexia. I'm sorry, but you're the governor of the largest state in the union. You're doing fine. Stop trying to identify with the struggle when your version of a struggle is choosing the wrong vintage of Cabernet.
And the mask slipped, didn't it? I saw the reports. His spokesperson told a reporter to F off when they asked for his actual academic records. They want the victim clout without any of the verification. It's a sham. They don't want you to know the truth.
Right? If you're going to make your learning disability a central pillar of your relatability campaign, don't get mad when people ask for the receipts. But let's move from the fake theater in Atlanta to the very real theater of war happening just south of the border. Ray, this El Mencho situation, it's exploding.
It's a war zone. Listen to me. On Sunday, Mexican special forces, and we know the CIA was holding their hand on this one. I have the white papers. They tracked Nemesio El Mencho Oseguera Cervantes to a ranch in Jalisco. High-stakes shootout, military helicopter forced down, and the kingpin of the CJNG is dead.
Right. He was the leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, and the retaliation was instant.
instant. Over the last 24 to 48 hours, we've seen narco bloqueos in 20 different states, burning buses, tractor trailers across the highways. It's a coordinated strike against the state. But here's the kicker, Ashley. Thousands of American tourists are currently hunkered down in hotels because they can't get to the airports. The State Department is telling people to shelter in place while the cartels burn the country down?
It's terrifying. Imagine being on vacation in Cabo or Puerto Vallarta and suddenly you're in the middle of a tactical insurgency.
But where's the urgency from our government? They're too busy worrying about relatability in Atlanta. We have citizens trapped in a country run by warlords. Warlords we've allowed to flourish because our border is a sieve. It's over for the old status quo, Ashley. The CJNG is a foreign terrorist organization. Period.
And that leads us directly into what's happening here at home with law enforcement. We saw this horrific footage from Washington Square Park in New York yesterday. NYPD officers, who were just trying to manage a disorderly group, being pelted with snowballs and harassed. Several of them ended up in the hospital with facial lacerations because apparently there were rocks or ice in those snowballs.
It's the breakdown of civilization. You have Mayor Zohan Mamdani, who has called the police racist, evil, and corrupt, and now he's shocked that people are attacking them? No, he's not shocked. He's cheering it on.
Well, Mamdani is fast-tracking his Department of Community Safety to replace cops with social workers. And meanwhile, over in New Jersey, they're advancing and I'm not making this up, the ICE Act. It's a bill designed to let residents sue federal immigration agents for doing their jobs.
The ICE Act? Are you kidding me? They are literally codifying the destruction of federal law. It's a demonic entity, Ashley. This move to strip every layer of protection from the American citizen. While we're honoring angel families at the White House, families who lost loved ones to illegal alien crime, these radicals are trying to make it a crime to deport the people responsible.
It's a total disconnect. And speaking of disconnects, let's talk about Hollywood. Robert De Niro is at it again.
Oh, here we go. Get the tissues out for Bobby.
Laughing. He was on Nicole Wallace's podcast and he actually broke down in tears. 82 years old, worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And he's crying because he's convinced President Trump is going to refuse to leave office in 2029. He called the country sick and effed up, and then turned his fire on Jeff Bezos for, get this, having no integrity because he's cutting staff at the Washington Post.
Bezos, the globalist king. Even he's not left enough for De Niro now.
Apparently not, but then you have Dennis Quaid on the other side. Quaid was on Greg Laurie's podcast today, and he basically said Hollywood has gone off the deep end. He called himself a common-sense independent and said the political spectrum has shifted so far left that he doesn't recognize it anymore.
Quaid is a lion. He sees the board. He's not living in a manic depressive bubble like De Niro. Listen to me. The reason Hollywood is failing, the reason the theater chains are bleeding money is because people are tired of being lectured by people who play pretend for a living.
I'm sorry, but if I want life advice, the last person I'm asking is a guy who's been living in a trailer on a film set since the 70s. But Ray, we have a bigger issue with the DHS shutdown. This whiplash with TSA PreCheck.
Oh, it's a total mess. On Sunday, Secretary Noem's department says, sorry, no more PreCheck, we're out of money. Then 24 hours later, after everyone realizes the airports are going to turn into a literal mash pit, they reverse it.
It's pure theater. They're trying to make the shutdown as painful as possible for the average traveler, so people scream at Congress to just pass the bloated budget. But Noem did do one thing I liked. She axed the airport police escorts for members of Congress.
Yeah, well, you want the shutdown, you walk through the terminal with the rest of the peasants. That's common sense. But meanwhile, FEMA is hitting a wall, the global entry program is suspended, they're playing games with our security, while 250 million people are dealing with this blizzard.
It's the institutional absurdity we talk about all the time. Speaking of which, Ray, did you see the Supreme Court update on the word shall?
Yes, this is what I'm talking about. linguistic gaslighting. The Supreme Court had to unanimously rule, that the word shall in a federal statute actually means must.
It's ridiculous.
It's not just ridiculous, it's dangerous. For years, these activist lower courts have been saying, oh, shall is just a suggestion. It gives us judicial discretion to ignore the law. Justice Sotomayor, of all people, had to write that shall means shall and stay means stay. If we can't agree on what four-letter words means, the rule of law is dead.
It's like they're trying to deconstruct reality itself, which is exactly what we're seeing in the education system. There's a report from the Federalist about a middle school that was caught segregating students by race for equity workshops without telling the parents.
Segregation in 2026 in the name of progress? It's a cult, Ashley. It's a neo-Marxist cult.
It's why the Chloe Cole Act is so important. Congressman Bob Onder just reintroduced it in the House. It's a national ban on gender transition procedures for minors, but more importantly, it gives detransitioners a private right of action to sue the doctors who pushed this on them.
Accountability. That's the only way this stops. When the lawsuits start hitting the billions, suddenly the science will change. Mark my words.
Let's hope. But before we get into our deep dive on the Middle East, and things are getting incredibly tense over there, we need to talk about why this show even exists. Real independence isn't free. This entire network, from this show to our flagship, The Neural Daily, exists because one man, Eric Christensen, decided to build it himself. He didn't ask for a government grant. He invested his own capital and technical expertise to architect a media platform that respects your intelligence. If you value that kind of meritocratic building, back it up. And don't limit yourself to just the politics. Get the full strategic picture by subscribing to the Neural Daily and the rest of the network. Support the builder, and you support the mission.
Support the builders. Don't let the vampires win. Speaking of vampires, we need to look at what's happening in Iran and Israel right now. Ashley, this is the biggest military buildup I've seen since 2003.
It really is. Prime Minister Netanyahu gave a 6-minute address to the Knesset last night. It was a high-stakes session, and he warned the Ayatollah's regime that any attack on Israel would be met with unimaginable force.
Unimaginable force. That's not a soundbite, folks. That's a promise. And listen to me. Even Yair Lapid, the opposition leader, is standing behind him on this. They are united. They want the regime in Tehran gone. The context here is crucial. We're coming up on the Purim holiday, which is deeply symbolic in Israel. It's a celebration of survival against an empire that wanted to destroy them. Netanyahu is leaning into that history, but the U.S. side of this is what's really staggering. 120 aircraft, Ashley. F-35s, F-15EXs, B-21 Raiders, they're all moving into theater. We have reports of cargo planes landing at Ben Gurion Airport every 20 minutes. This isn't just deterrence anymore. This is a pre-positioning for a massive coordinated strike. And it's happening while Iran is facing a domestic uprising. The people there are done with the mullahs. The regime is cornered, which makes them incredibly dangerous. But the media? Let's talk about the media bias here for a second. While all this is brewing, did you see how they treated National Angel Family Day yesterday? Sickening! Breath! Trump holds a ceremony at the White House to honor Americans killed by illegal alien crime. Families of Laken Riley, Jocelyn Nungare, Tears, Amazing Grace, the whole 9 yards. And CNN and MS Now, they refused to air it. A total blackout. CNN claimed they were focusing on the historic blizzard. I'm sorry, but you can't spare 10 minutes to show the human cost of a wide open border. They don't want the human cost to be seen. It ruins the narrative. They'd rather show Gavin Newsom pretending he can't read than show a mother who lost her daughter to a criminal who shouldn't have been in the country. It's the war on information. It's why DHS just added 5,000 new entries to the worst of the worst website. They know the mainstream media won't cover it, so they're putting the data directly in the public's hands. It's about bypassing the gatekeepers. Gatekeepers are falling, Ashley. Whether it's the cartels, the globalists, or the elitists in Hollywood, the common sense revolution is here. I love the energy, Ray. Let's recap. We've got a governor trying to 960 SAT his way into our hearts, cartels turning Mexico into a war zone, and the Middle East sitting on a powder keg. It's a lot to process, but that's why we're here. Just remember, they want you scared, they want you distracted, and they want you compliant. Don't give them an inch. Get the bone broth, get the truth, and stay in the fight. Get the bone broth. Never change, Ray. That's our show for today. Stick with us, stay sharp, and remember, life is hard, so get a helmet. We'll see you tomorrow. The hammer is out. It's over for humanity if we